gonna be you.
Brilliant. Welcome back to Giggles and Gains. I hope you are all well. We have ventured outside today because it's absolutely glorious and we don't know when we're going to get sun again. And I have got a special guest with me today, Dale. So Dale has driven all the way from Coventry to be with us today, and I'm going to let her introduce herself, and yeah, hope you enjoy.
Thanks, Katie. I'm Dale. I am a health coach for mind and body. So I am a qualified reformer and reformer Pilates and yoga teacher. And I've been on a journey now for quite a few years, which has led me into more of the emotional healing, which I think we're going to discuss a little bit more today.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah, because it's a subject that I want to know a little bit more about. And Dale's actually done some absolutely epic yoga and breathwork classes with my community. I think we've done about 3 now, haven't we? Yeah, 3 breathwork and yoga sessions, which have been fab. So you can also follow Dale on Instagram at
innersoul_by Dale.
And I will remind you of that later, just so we don't forget. But yeah, I guess tell me and the listeners a little bit more about you and your journey and the history behind it.
Yeah, so it kind of all started about eight years ago. I was going through my own struggles with stress and anxiety, and to be honest with you, I'd never come across it before. I didn't understand it. I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to be, stressed or anxious about anything. Like, it's just not me. And it got to a point where, I had parts of OCD happening where I would check everything. I'd check the straighteners, I'd check the cooker, I'd check the front door was locked, and I'd just be overthinking absolutely everything. Like, worst case scenario, what's going to happen? And this started to kind of spiral out of control. And it wasn't until one day hit and I actually ended up having a panic attack at work. And it just really hit me. I was thinking something is not right. Like, the amount of kind of energy going on in my body right now is just not good. I've been in hospital. I'd had, really bad acid reflux. I was having cameras up and down everywhere, and they just couldn't find anything wrong with me. So I was thinking, right, this isn't right. So I thought, what else is out there that's going to help me? I started doing cognitive behaviour therapy, which was kind of the starting point of my whole kind of holistic journey. And it was great, but it wasn't kind of the thing that really made me who I am today. There's a lot out there at the moment, in terms of mental health, emotional health, whatever you want to call it. And, a lot of people go down the medication route. I've no, disrespect, or don't judge anybody that goes down that route, but there's so much more out there that you can use, either on its own or alongside medication, because usually medication doesn't get to the root cause of the problem that you're going through at the time.
No, and this is like the biggest thing, isn't it, in like my industry, and then dipping our toe into your industry. You go to the doctors, the first thing they do if you're suffering with mental health is prescribe you antidepressants, and actually the first thing they should be shouting about is move more, eat nutritious food, focus on those anti-inflammatory qualities within food. And this is where you come in, the breathwork side of it, the mental side of it, getting in tune with your body.
Exactly. And that's where it kind of led me to where I am today. So everything that I've kind of gone through, I've tried to tap into a lot of holistic practices that contribute and help me in my own life. And I know they work because I'm living proof of it. I mean, I can stand here confidently today and say that I don't have anxiety. I don't overthink like I used to. I don't deal with the stress that I used to. And that I want to basically just say to people, like, if you're in that position, like, there are so many things out there that you can utilise.
Can't lie, we just had to move because we were absolutely melting. I think they'll be like, we're going to start melting and dripping through to the floor.
I've literally got like boob sweat and bum sweat.
I think these glasses are making like my face drip, so like any second now I reckon I'll say something really good and you'll catch it on camera and there'll be sweat coming down my thing. Anyway, I'll get us a nice trolley. I was going to ask Dale about what holistic practices you have done more specifically to actually work on healing yourself.
Yeah, so after I'd done the cognitive behaviour therapy, I was told by somebody that I know, they said, look, Dale, you're quite...
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that process, that CBT?
CBT, cognitive, yeah. So CBT, oh, it's a long time ago since I had it, but basically you go in, this was before COVID, way before COVID, so it was a lot more easy to access. And they go in and they do an assessment on you. And they basically try and break down why you're thinking and feeling the ways you do.
Okay.
And they give you, the first thing that they gave me was meditation.
Okay.
So that was kind of the seed
Yes.
to leading me into the yoga and everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So they would send me home with mindfulness stuff, and I really loved it, and I felt like I connected to it. And I always remember one thing that my therapist said was, my mind worked like this. So it's like saying to somebody, don't look at the pink elephant in the room, and all you do is look at the pink elephant in the room. And
Kind of retrain your brain.
oh my goodness, like she's so right. And that stuck with me for nearly 7 years throughout this whole process. But the meditation was what set the seed. And then I thought, what else can I do? I love going to the gym. I love keeping fit. I'll try yoga. So I started going to yoga for about 2 years. And I fell in love with it. I felt like it was my safe space. It was what relaxed me. It was my time. And I didn't have to worry about the rest of the world whilst I was in that class. And then that slowly led me on to wanting to become a yoga teacher. So I actually trained for a whole year in Nottingham with the British Wheel of Yoga to be a teacher. And that process was quite long.
Really? How long was it?
And it was, pardon?
How long was it?
So it was every other Sunday for a whole year.
Oh my goodness, it was like...
It was intense.
Yeah.
And I met some great people, and it was amazing to understand everyone else's journey. And actually, when you start opening yourself up into those environments, you start to feel like you know who you're becoming. Because you're sat with like-minded people have gone through the same stuff. And I just felt like there was a click.
Yeah.
And then from there, now I've been teaching over 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And it's my safe space. And I love teaching, and I love being with a class because I get just as much out of it as the people that I'm working with. And that's what I always want it to be.
Yeah.
Because I never want it to become a situation where I'm having to rely on it too much from a financial perspective. And, you know, it's something that's really saved me with everything that I've gone through.
How are you now moving forward then into helping other people with that?
Yeah, so recently this year actually I went out to Dubai and I came across a couple who run an emotional healing coaching company, and I clicked with them straight away, and this led me into the emotional healing program that I've actually been on myself to try and heal some of the things that have triggered me over the years, the traumas that I've been through. And when I started that journey, I said, I want to be a coach. I want to be a coach of it. But what I didn't realise is actually I needed it.
Yeah.
I needed that journey. But then that's led me into helping other people, because yoga only touches people in terms of on a mental level on the surface, I think. That's my own opinion. Whereas emotional healing, you can start to peel back the layers of those individuals and really dig deep as to why they think and feel a certain way.
So tell me more about that. Like, what does that mean? What does that look like for me, who's never been through it, doesn't understand it?
So emotional healing is all about your emotions and how you think and feel over things. You know, for example, I can be quite a hothead.
Yeah.
You know, I can be quite straight to the point. In the past, I've not really cared about what others think and feel, and I've just gone off and done it. And if I've upset people along the way, then I've done that.
Yeah.
Emotional healing is about diving into what triggers you and making you aware of those triggers so that you don't have to react in the ways that you might have previously.
Do you then pick into, so if that's the surface level, right? And then you've got the triggers, do you then look at the past trauma, past experiences, stuff like that? So it's very similar to therapy.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Again, it's a holistic approach. We are getting you to feel into the body, because emotion is energy. That's all it is. When you get angry, energy builds up inside you. You think negatively. That's why you're so angry about something. But the amount of energy you're using in your body, that's just like destroying you inside.
Yeah.
That's when people are suffering with, you know, things like IBS,
Yes.
acid reflux, and they're starting to get all of these physical symptoms that they can't work out why. And it makes so much sense when you're just like, wow, like if you actually looked at your life and you looked at the emotional triggers that have happened, it explains why you are probably where you are.
So if you have I'm going to be quite personal and selfish right now. So if you have a baseline understanding, so I'm going to talk about myself, very arrogantly. I get really severe heartburn occasionally, very, very occasionally. And I had heartburn Monday and Tuesday. I'm currently worried about making weight for the comp as of when this was recorded. And I know that that's the trigger. But how do I turn that off? Like, what do I need to do? Because I try and relax and go out for the walks. I try and chill, I take the moment to myself. But it just overwhelms me.
It's not about turning it off.
Okay.
It's actually about feeling into that emotion. So, you know, it would be about layering that. Well, what do you think that's related to?
See, so the rational side of my brain knows I'm going to make weight for comp. I'm not even worried about it. I'm literally not worried. I know I'm going to make it. But then my body is going, but what if you don't?
So if I was to say to you, if you was to just close your eyes for a minute.
Oh God, okay. I hope I don't drip.
So if you close your eyes, and this is what emotional healing is all about, because it's all about connecting it into your body. So if you can feel something at the moment, you said that you know this week's been, you know, quite stressful. Where are you kind of feeling that in your body right now? Are you feeling it in your shoulders, your chest, your belly?
I was feeling it in my chest, in my abdomen here, and into my stomach, up into my chest. Right now, because I'm more relaxed, I'm just having sensations going down my arms as I close my eyes. Okay.
So that's good. So now we're starting to connect you with the feeling of it in your body, because you'll probably have spent all week walking around being like, you know, I'm feeling like this, but not actually just sitting with that feeling for a moment and understanding why you're feeling like that. But what we then do is we then connect those feelings to the chakras. So there's chakras in your body. What you're saying here is like your solar plexus. Okay. So then that's linked to things that might have happened in your past that are triggering you to feel this way. And it might not be something that you think, okay, like instantly, but there might be something that's happened that has made you to think and feel this way. And because you've just been like this for years and years and years, you don't know any different.
Yeah, and I think that probably does stem into I've spoken quite openly about the eating problems that I've had. The second I know I have to hit a deadline for a competition, it's like I'm dieting, because to me it is a diet. And I know I don't use that word loosely with clients because it's a lifestyle change, but to me it is a diet because there's going to be a deadline to it, and that's a diet, isn't it? You've got to make that.
What do you think that's related to, though, if you were to go a little bit deeper?
The fat version of me that effectively is there's still an element of me, and I'm not going to lie, that worries about putting on too much weight because you'll end up at 14.5 stone again. Do you know what I mean? So where I've put myself in a position where I was maintaining 71.5 kilograms for the best part of 6 months, the best part of this year, went to Ibiza, come back 71.5, went to my mum's, actually tracked my calories, but come back as 73. And I was like, oh God, how have I done that? I was actually tracking on holiday. And then I get frustrated with myself because I'm like, this is my job. I shouldn't be making mistakes like this. So again, that then links into the perfectionism side of me that I try and hold on to, try and keep down, but you're telling me I shouldn't, I should sit with it.
Yeah, and it's that control as well, because you're wanting to control the situation, because you don't
everything.
want to. And this is exactly the same as me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to feel out of control, but it was because I had a situation when I was younger, without going into too much detail, but I kind of made that decision. Things were out of my control. They were out of my control.
Yeah.
So the trauma that I went through has actually created me to have to control everything, to know where I'm going, what I'm doing, you know, who I'm going. You know, if my partner says to me, "Oh, we're going to go out for food," I'm like, "Whoa, no, you can't just dump that on me."
Yeah.
It's a case that you need to give me X amount of hours or X amount of days to know exactly what we're going to be doing. Now, not so much.
Yeah.
Because I'm going through the motions and I'm starting to realise that that doesn't really matter. But it's not the fact that he's booked a meal, it's the fact that I don't know and I haven't got full control over it.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess being with similar situation, being with Derek is very much like that for me, because he is a wake up in the morning and that's what we're doing today. And I'm like, no, let's have a plan. Like, what is the plan? But again, it's having that awareness of it, isn't it? Like, I have the awareness of that. Oh my God, Axel, no need. You actually jumped out yourself. Axel, here, come here. Yeah, and how long did that take you to start to work through when you were on this journey? Was this when you did that in Dubai?
Yeah, so I've been going through, it's 7 weeks.
Okay.
It's really 7 weeks, but it doesn't end at the 7 weeks, because really then you've got the tools to be able to go away and implement that into your everyday life. And within that emotional healing, there are things like your breath work, your meditation, your journaling, your Reiki. There's so much that comes into the emotional healing, but also I felt like someone had literally just put a pair of glasses on me and I could just see everything for the first time.
Really?
And I was just like, wow. And also like owning stuff. Like, if you've been a bitch, like own it, the fact that you've been a bitch. Like, you don't have to walk around in a certain way, but just owning what you've done and how you've done it is like the best thing that you could probably do.
Can we break down all of those parts then? So if you were giving advice to somebody on each of those 4 areas, the breath work, the yoga, the journaling, the Reiki, what advice would you give to somebody on each element if they were like looking to get into it?
I would say start off small.
Okay.
Like, start off slow, because you can quite easily, I think nowadays, overwhelm yourself with like far too many stuff, like too much stuff. Like, if you go on the internet, it's just like, well, where do I even go? Where do I even start? It's the same with fitness probably. And I just think start off slow. Like, you know, with breath work, you don't have to do a 30-minute breath work session. You could start off with like 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Or a meditation session, you know, whatever works. I mean, personally for me, breath work is my favourite, because I really struggle to just sit there in silence. And I think then don't beat yourself up because you struggle with something, and that's fine.
So
it's just finding what works for you.
Somebody who's going to be similar to you, who struggles to sit in silence, which is also me, and I'm focusing on my breath and my heart centre, and then I'm like, oh, what should we have for dinner tonight?
So the best thing I would say is either like for a breathwork session, let's say in the morning, I would just do it before. It's the first thing you do before you wake up, like properly wake up.
Yeah.
Like, don't even have breakfast. Like, make it a priority, because we make everything else a priority. What we eat, the fact that we go to the gym, but actually having that, it's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not a long time. Like, you'd sit up for 5 minutes on your phone scrolling through Instagram, so you might as well just sit there without your phone, without anybody around you, put your headphones in, find some breathwork music and just breathe. And it doesn't have to be fancy. I mean, I've got lots of options, you know, if people ever want to get in contact with me about how to do breathwork, and I can run one-to-one sessions with them, but just breathing.
Yeah.
Like, the belly breath is just so empowering.
I tend to say to clients as well, for stress management, it's just box breathing. It's one of the easiest ways. That's what I use if I can't sleep or something like that. I'll always bang out a few boxes.
Yeah, but it's true.
Yeah.
But it's all it is like, start small, like do 2 to 5 minutes. Once you've achieved that, okay, maybe do a little bit more. But you don't have to be putting all this pressure on you. Like, right, okay, right, now I've got a journal, now I've got a breathwork, now I've got meditation, now I've got. It's just too much, and it's unrealistic.
And what about kind of like a beginner's guide if somebody wanted to start yoga, and what are the benefits of yoga?
Everyone says this to me, but there's so many benefits.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps you mentally, physically. It can help you with sleep problems. It can help reduce stress and anxiety. But also, one thing I have noticed, the biggest thing. So I work in an office, and I have done for like 4.5 years. Always picking up the phone. Like, my shoulders used to kill all the time. I don't have any back pain or shoulder pain at all. I notice that as well when I'm writing
content, or if I'm doing something, I'm really concentrating on it. I notice that I like creep up higher and higher and higher, and I'm like, whoa, come back down here, have a minute.
A lot of my clients that I work with have had quite a lot of back pain. No back pain.
Yeah.
Just from having
a continuous. How do you think that works?
I just think it's moving the body in a particular way that we do in yoga, because
You're having a relaxation phase and you're having a work phase,
yeah,
aren't you?
but also mobility.
Yeah.
People's mobility is shocking. I'm not going to lie, but it is. You know, it's some people come to my classes. I had a lady the other day. She's my friend, bless her. She won't mind me saying this, but you know, she said, I can't believe how unflexible I am. And it shocks people because everyone seems to look after the strength side of it, but they forget about that element.
Yeah, and that's huge. Like, I've come from a background of 15, 16 years now of working out, and it's only in the last 5 or 6 years I have a warm-up routine and do a bit of mobility. And honestly, I do pay the prices. Like, my hips are so tight, I have a little bit of lower back problems. I mean, if you speak to me at the minute, my list of niggles is about this long. But it's all because I didn't look after my body enough when I was in my 20s. And I battered it, absolutely battered it. And you have to have something that you've got to give back to your body because it looks
100%.
after you, doesn't it? It's got to carry you around for 70, 80, 90 years. Like, you've got to give back to it.
100%.
Okay, journaling. I'm really interested to hear what you say because I ask my clients to journal, especially people who are really struggling mentally, or I have like a low-level journal thing that I ask them to do every day. But again, a client I was speaking to this week's really suffering with emotional eating and binge eating. She's got a lot going on in her life at the minute. She's very out of control. And actually, I've asked her to journal, and I'd be interested to hear what your advice would be.
What have you? Just out of interest, kind of like what are the steps? Like, does she have?
I've given her questions.
Okay.
The reason I've given her questions, and I'm not an expert in this, I'm not going to lie. So to help my client with her journaling, I've given her questions, 3 specific questions, which is to check in with how she feels. I've asked her to give me something that she's going to leave behind. So something she's going to leave behind from yesterday, from the day, because obviously she's trying to control things.
Yeah.
And the third question is something that if you're doing it in the morning, something you're going to take control of for the day, but also something you have succeeded in or taken control of. And they were my 3 questions for her.
Yeah.
What do you think?
See, I think for journaling, see, the way I think there's still quite a lot of control over that.
Yes.
Whereas journaling is about kind of taking what's going on in here out on paper. So if you feel a certain way, write it down.
Yeah.
Today I feel shit. Today I feel anxious. So it's about getting your feelings out on paper, but also then putting a positive flip on it and going, actually, what am I grateful for?
Yeah.
Look at the positives. What's good in my life at the moment?
Those questions every single day is like, how are you feeling? What are you grateful for? And what are you proud of today? That's just
100%.
part of our coaching. But this was an added layer to that because she's struggling with those questions at the minute, and she needed something that was just gonna.
Yeah,
give her
I
a
mean,
bit more.
the best thing. I mean, I've spent time journaling myself, and because I was an overthinker, obviously I can't speak for your client because I'm not a specialist in that area. But like the one thing that I had to keep reminding myself is like, what have I currently got in my life? What have I got? Who have I got? Like, if you really break it down, like, money doesn't really mean anything, let's be honest. I mean, yes, it gives us a certain lifestyle and we can go off and do nice things, but, you know, health is so important. Like, if you are healthy, you know, that's a massive tick.
Yeah.
But I think it's just keep saying to yourself, like, today I'm grateful for this. Today this is good. Today this is positive, and just keep saying it to yourself. It's like manifestation.
Yeah, and that's a big
it links
part of the
into that.
conversation I had with her was around manifestation. Like, she got on the call with me and she was like, "Oh, like, just something keeps happening. Something keeps happening." I said to her, I was like, "Yeah, because you're waiting for it to happen. You're literally saying to the universe, right, what's going to be next? Bring it to me. Like, what negative thing's going to happen?"
This is where it links into the emotional healing. You know, the universe will only listen to you if you're in line with what the universe wants. If you are fighting and fighting and fighting, the universe is never going to give you what you want. So actually, you know, probably for that client, you know, like actually trying some mindfulness things to actually implement. Like when she wakes up in the day, it might not be journaling that is what she's needing. She's actually needing to ground herself and sit presently for a minute.
Yeah.
And just know that she's there and she's here. Once she's done that, then do the journaling.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, for sure. So, what about Reiki? Tell me more about that, 'cause I don't really know much about that at all.
So I am not 100% probably the best person to speak to about Reiki, only because that is probably the one holistic thing I really struggle to connect with.
Okay.
If people are in person and they're doing it on me, I love it, and
What
I can.
is that? What does that mean?
It's basically, it's energy, and it's basically helping people move the energy through the body. Again, I don't personally use it a lot in my practices, but it is something that, you know, people can use as a tool if they require it. And there's mixed reviews. Some people believe in it, some people don't.
Okay, fine. So I also wanted to ask and find out, so what's next? Like, what are you working on at the moment in terms of your journey and how you're then going to interlink that into helping people?
Yeah, so it's funny, isn't it? I was thinking about when I reached out to you actually on Instagram, because that's when we kind of...
Yeah, we connected.
Yeah, and it's just crazy how you can build these kind of relationships with people over social media. But for the past kind of 9 months, I have thrown all of the shit at the wall possible. I've tried different things. I've tried, you know, I've done my personal training elements. I've done my reformer Pilates. I've looked at nutrition aspects. I've looked at the emotional healing side of it. And when I started this, I truly believe for you to live a fulfilled life in all aspects, you have to have a combination of mind and body. And when I say mind and body, I mean body as in the physical fitness side of things, and the mindfulness practices like your yoga, your breathwork, your meditation. So I'm in the process at the moment of building my own yoga and reformer Pilates studio in my garden, which I'm super excited about. And I basically want to help as many people as possible find a way to incorporate these things so it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
So they can do it in a timely manner, they can do it around the kids, they can do it around busy lives. It doesn't have to take up hours and hours of their time. And to really show people that it's easy, you just have to want to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
And yes, there's hopefully, you know, more retreats coming. That's where I kind of want to spend my time, running wellness retreats and health retreats and that type of thing. And I'm super, super excited for the next few months to see kind of how it all starts to unfold.
So when's your first retreat? Have you done?
I've done a few
Yeah.
mini retreats. So a lot of my retreats are centred around cold water therapy and yoga.
Okay.
I do have one running in Leicestershire on the 12th of August.
Yes.
And that has a cacao ceremony. We're doing sound bowls, we've got yoga, we've got breath work.
What's the ceremony, please?
So cacao is,
Thank you.
it's a herbal medicine as
Okay.
such. It's actually like hot chocolate, to be quite honest with you. But they do a ceremony.
You're doing like ayahuasca.
Yeah, literally. But no, they
Mushrooms.
do a particular ceremony. I'm going to be teaming up with a wonderful lady called Kay who actually does the ceremonies.
Interesting.
But it's I'm intrigued to learn more about it
Yeah.
so that I can just go off and do it myself. But I actually have been drinking cacao for a long time, and there's a lot of healing benefits to it, and it's full of magnesium. So it's really, really good for if people are suffering with sleep and things like that.
Yeah, 100%. We think we've found where we want to do our first retreat, and we're hoping to do it, I think, in March. I don't have a all or nothing, no, not an all or nothing, less is more filter. It's more is always more. So we've got our next photo shoot in November, and I was like, right, we can make it into a retreat weekend, we can have the whole weekend. And then I'm like, Kate, just slow down, do the photo shoot, do the retreat on another thing. And I think we're going to go for March. So yeah, I was going to ask you about that for March, which would be really fun. We
That'd be
found a
amazing.
house,
Amazing.
big weekend, massive pool, jacuzzi, have a bit of fun as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I thought it'd be really, really good. So for you moving forward then, what are the 3 things that you've learnt this last year from dipping your toe in all the shit that you threw at the wall?
I would say be patient. Be patient with the process, because it doesn't happen overnight, and I generally thought it was going to for some crazy reason. That patience is not in my kind of naturalness of me and who I am and life, but patience is massively probably the first one. I'd also say, like, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it, because so many people end up commenting on your pathway and how you're doing things, you know, or why you haven't got to that stage yet. And
Did you have that experience through mentors or through just people that you know?
Just I think, you know, people will know, and again, this is probably my take on it because I'm quite a proud person, and maybe I haven't got to where I wanted in the space that I've done. But it's, I felt like, you know, sometimes people can judge a situation, but not actually be involved or actually have seen, you know, what you've actually been doing. And I think that's really important, because actually I think this year wasn't about me building the end goal, it was about the education and navigating actually what can I do to create the best thing possible for individuals to be able to use.
But I think that's really important, because like we were speaking of before we started recording, and like my last year I've learnt so much, and I wouldn't say I'd ever do anything again or turn the clock back and like erase it, but effectively a lot of the things that have happened this year have given me huge life lessons. And similar to you, I set like massive goals for last year, and I'm not even gonna lie, I smashed every single fucking one of them apart from one. And the one that I didn't smash was really frustrating, because it actually, something in the business actually ended up going backwards. And I was like, whoa, what is going on here? And I felt really out of control. And we had a really stressful like first 3 months of the year. But equally, we've now put something in place that then fixes that. And we're sustainable again. And I'd never had an experience like that before, because everything that I do is always normally forward. It's very rare that something doesn't quite go to plan. And I think what you've done this year and kind of dipping your toe in all these different areas and seeing where you want to be is actually really, really important, because you're either going to do it like I've done and learn the lessons, or you're going to do it like you've done and cross things off the list that you thought might be possibilities.
Yeah, and I think I'm working out why I've done it this way now is because, you know, I'm very fortunate. I still work 4 days a week, and you know, the company that I work for are very supportive in that, but I've been able to do it a little bit slower. I haven't had to just throw everything into it. And I've tried to, yeah, maybe I have been a little bit cautious, or, you know, I've not wanted to throw too many eggs in that basket in case, you know, this didn't work. But I think for me, like, I'm doing it at my own pace, and it's took me a few months to kind of realise that that's actually okay.
Yeah, 100%. And your third thing that you've learned?
Third thing, have fun with it. I think I can become a bit too serious sometimes.
Really?
And it wasn't until an old friend reached out to me on Instagram the other day. He's actually really successful. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's called Eating with Todd. He's on Instagram. He's got like 1 million followers. But
Does he do food?
Yes.
All you need to do to be successful, sorry, this is not me disrespecting your friend at all, but to become successful on Instagram, you just have to start cooking. Like, literally, I haven't got time for that.
Well, he reviews places. So,
Oh, okay.
But basically, he's an old friend, and he reached out and he just said, "Look, Dale, whatever you do, just have fun." And I just thought, oh my goodness, I really needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Because you can get so wrapped up in it needs to look like this and it needs to be this, and you know, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But no, also, I don't think clients want it to be perfect.
No,
Because you're going on a journey
100%.
with them, and you're learning about them, and every client you work with is different, and you know, they might suggest something that actually think, oh, actually that could really work. So
Yeah.
it's just about constantly learning. But I just think the one thing is like my third thing is just have fun with whatever you do.
So do you foresee yourself being able to leave your job this year, or is that something for next year?
I don't know yet. I don't know. I think I kind of took a bit of a step back and gone, let's not put the pressure on myself,
okay.
because I think I've put too much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
And I'm also very grateful in terms of like what I already have and
Yeah.
how hard I've worked for that. But I just think now I'm just not taking the foot off the gas. I'm just trying to enjoy the process a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. So you just got back from Malta.
I did.
Tell me about Malta.
Have you? Oh, you're going, aren't you?
I've been. So I went with a previous partner maybe around 7 years ago, and we went. We used to rock climb, so we went climbing in Malta. So we stayed overlooking the cathedral, and then you can see like Gozo,
Yeah, Gozo.
in the distance. and we went everywhere. Like we got a car because you can literally get from one side of Malta to the other in 30 minutes. So we went to St Paul's Bay, and I was like, right, we're going to stay here. But obviously the international competition is in Malta in September, so we've got 3 nights with the hotel that we have to stay in to compete at for the British powerlifting, and then we've booked another 3 nights. So we're trying to decide at the minute whether we stay in St Paul's Bay, which is kind of where I want to stay because eating, drinking, having a nice time. But then you stayed in Valletta, didn't you?
Amazing.
Yeah, tell me more.
We literally had, we were on St Paul Street, best location. We just had Airbnb.
Yeah.
I was blown away by it.
Really?
I love medieval towns, and it's just the most picturesque place I've ever been. But also what sold it to me was you could get 2 Aperol Spritz for €8, which is just, I'm sold when it comes to Aperol. So yeah, food's great, like you can see loads, explore loads. I think they have a festival happening every single weekend.
Really?
So busy.
Did you get a car or did you just stay in one place?
We just stayed in one place, but my mum's got friends over in Gozo, so we went there, and I went to their house, which is beautiful. And yeah, just had fun and drank and ate and just enjoyed myself.
Yeah, nice. Any recommendations?
No, there's too many.
Yeah.
There's so many places to eat and drink. Like you could go anywhere. I mean, I had beautiful fish. I don't know if you like fish.
Yeah, I do like fish. I have a bad habit though of every time I go on holiday, I eat loads of fish and then I get food poisoning. It happens every time. Just my stomach is not built for fish on holiday. It doesn't mean it stops me, but it's not a good time.
But no, it was beautiful, and I'd go back any day of the week.
Where are you going next?
I'm off to Dubai in October.
For another...
For just a holiday. It's my 30th, so we're going to have a little bit of a party and just let our hair down and just enjoy. I'm staying on the Radisson?
Yeah, where's that?
On the Palm.
Oh, nice.
It's on like the beachy bit.
Yeah, for sure. We said if we went again, we'd stay on the Palm.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean, I've stayed
nice.
in loads of different places, but that's my favourite part.
Yeah. What have you got planned when you're there? Anything?
So I want to do the zip line.
Yes.
Have you ever done it?
No. We did a zip line in Thailand. We actually done a couple of zip lines in Thailand. They were epic. They were not Dubai health and safety zip lines. They were like
hanging on for dear life.
In, hold on to here, don't touch this bit, go. And he was behind me, the guy was behind me filming with my phone. It was very funny, but that's Thailand.
Yeah, so but I also, when I went in February, I went to Aura Sky Pool.
Yeah, we did Aura.
But they do yoga up there.
Yes.
And it was incredible, so I'm going to go back.
And you did the yoga, did you?
Yeah, but you can get, so basically you get an hour yoga and breakfast. It's £60, but it's worth it.
We went in the evening for the sunset and it was a very different experience.
Oh, really?
It was very entertaining. Don't get me wrong, like you can see on my Instagram, we do the picture thing. We do the picture thing and then that's it, we've done it. We throw the phones down and that's it. Like quite often on holiday, I won't connect to data. I will just have Derek's phone, so it gives me that space away from my phone because I'm fully addicted to my phone. Like running a business through your phone is very difficult. I should do more mindfulness. But yeah, like it was literally, oh my God. So there was just people in the most outrageous poses. I think I was sat on the edge of the pool and I got asked to move out the way by a Chinese family who went like that to me. And I was like, you want me to move? What? I just couldn't believe it. But yes, it was a very interesting experience. But we had a lovely time watching it all unfold.
No, it is good. I do love Dubai, and it is very luxurious. But
would you consider moving?
I have, yeah. I have. But it's hard. Like my partner has got a good job in the UK, and it's just, we both love it out there. I mean, he's a massive golfer. I mean, he can play golf galore out there, and never say never. But we've renovated a house, and it's took us like 2.5 years, so we're enjoying that for the time being.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe in the future.
Maybe.
Nice.
I would love to get something out there, like an apartment. I've said that.
Yeah.
But I'm so intrigued with Airbnb and things like that. So yeah, I'm just like having a little nose at the moment and just trying to work out.
Property investment as well, though. It's planning for the future, isn't it? Like if you had a space out there and the price of that went up, like you're laughing, aren't you? Really?
Well, yeah, and I think it's
tax-free.
It's the fastest growing city really.
Yeah, massively.
So.
Massively. So, what is next for you immediately, right now? What are you working on at the moment?
So I am going to Latitude Festival next week, and
Delightful.
I am teaching yoga there.
Really?
Which I'm super excited about. So I've got a little competition happening next week actually.
What's that?
I haven't launched it yet.
Oh.
But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll find out what it is. But yeah, I'm launching a competition. So I've got 2 sessions. I've got a yin yoga and an emotional healing yoga workshop there.
Nice.
So I'm super excited.
So if you would like to find out more about what Dale does, and she actually does a lot of online classes as well, and I know I've got a lot of listeners and watchers in Northampton, so she's only in Coventry, so it's not even that far away, but drop her a follow on Instagram at
InnerSoul_by Dale.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Katie.